thought that it would be beneficial to clear the air with Michael Chandler, the former Bellator lightweight champion. And by the way, a happy anniversary to him. It was, 6 years ago yesterday that he had that amazing fight against Eddie Alvarez that night, where the UFC was in San Jose, UFC 139, and Alvarez fought Michael Chandler just hours apart. I'll never forget that night. One of the best nights in MMA history, because they were happening on different sides of the country. That's when Bellator was doing a lot of Saturday evening shows on MTV2. And those two fight of the year contenders. I don't know what officially won the fight of the year. I think it might have been Henderson versus Shogun. But there were two of the very best fights of the year, and they happened within literally minutes of each other. So anyway, that was yesterday, the anniversary of that fight, 6 years ago, yesterday to be exact. But now let us bring in Mr. Michael Chandler to help clear the air on all of this involving the Bellator lightweight title. There he is, Mr. Michael Chandler, who is going to be a father soon, right? Or have you become a father yet?
I have become a father. I am a father.
Wow! Congratulations, Mazel Tov. That's amazing. How's that going?
Thanks, man. No, it's been great. It's been a whirlwind the last couple of weeks, man. We've my wife has wanted to adopt since she was like 15 years old. So when we got together, I knew it was something that we were probably going to do eventually. We've gone through the process over the last year, all the background checks, all the paperwork, all the applications, all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden we got a phone call that said we were active and they have a case for us, and went down to Dallas, Texas, spent a couple weeks in a hotel, picked up our pride and joy, Hap Whitaker Chandler, and he's been with us ever since.
Wow, that's amazing. Good for you guys. Congratulations again. And like I said to you via text, on this show, I think I mentioned to you that you're going to be a great dad. So I'm happy to see that the process has started already.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's been good. I've known it was going to happen, over the last little while, but it's never a done deal till it's a done deal. So you don't really want to be talking too much about it. And now it's a done deal, so we can talk about them all we want.
And also, by the way, happy anniversary. 6 years ago yesterday, that great fight against Eddie Alvarez. Did you remember that? Like when I see my phone, I see November 19th. I'm like, oh yeah, that was an awesome night. Do you feel the same way?
I do. Yeah, man. It was really the fight that put me on the map. It was the fight that let people know, who I am, how tough I am, how talented I was going to be. And the great thing is looking back at that fight and realizing how green I was and how not, I was very, very tough, but I wasn't very skilled. And, it was will that won that fight more than skill. And here we are 6 years later, and it's been something that's been a stepping stone to get me to where I am today. And man, it's been good. It's been a phenomenal night, and it was a phenomenal night in history.
Yeah, one of the greatest ever. So let's clear the air here, because when I found out that you were fighting Goiti Yamauchi, I was like, okay, that's a good fight. But I would have I would have put in stone that your next fight was Brent Primus, just because of what happened in the last fight. You were the champion, somewhat inconclusive, somewhat controversial. Everyone kind of wanted to see some closure to that fight. Well, that wasn't the case. You're not fighting Brent Primus next. And then Brent Primus did an interview with our own Guilherme Cruz saying that the fight was offered to you, you turned it down, and now he's just waiting for a fight maybe against Patricky Pitbull. What the heck is going on here? Were you offered a fight against Brent? Can you clear the air? Tell us the whole damn story, because it's a little bit confusing.
Was I offered the fight against Brent? No. I have been asking to fight Brent Primus since I sat there in that studio on that chair. I hobbled in. 5 days later, I ran 5 miles, was texting Scott Coker, Rich Few, booked the rematch, let's go. I asked for the fight in October at Mohegan Sun. I asked for it in November at Penn State. I asked for it in December overseas. But I am a professional fighter. I am a prize fighter. I'm not going to sit around and wait for somebody who he himself just had a child, and he's on maternity leave right now, so he's just wants to sit around and not do anything. So I'm not going to wait. I have a lot bigger fish to fry and a lot bigger things to do than wait around for somebody who honestly just doesn't want to take a fight. I don't know what his reasoning is besides he's just busy. But you know me well. I've been fighting for 8 years. He has been fighting for 8 years. He has 8 fights. I have 20 fights. I've fought injured. I've fought calling out the biggest names in the division and the division above me. So you know what the real truth is in this scenario.
Wait, so you're saying that he turned down a fight against you?
I'm saying that I was asking for the fight.
Yeah.
So I mean, essentially, yes, he turned down the fight because I was asking to fight him. Bellator wanted to make the fight. But you can't force somebody to fight. I've been in this situation numerous times now where I am telling Bellator, I want to fight. I want to fight this guy. I want to fight. Just give me any fight. And Bellator's got some people on the roster that just don't want to fight. They're part-time fighters. This guy that we are talking about is a part-time fighter. He's been fighting 8 years, and only in one of those years has he fought more than one time. I am the most upset fighter in the entire world that I have only fought one time in the calendar year 2017, because that's not who I am. I'm a professional fighter. I want to fight numerous times a year. I want to go out there, be put on a platform to be able to beat somebody up in front of millions of people. This guy wants to not. He's literally the exact opposite of me. So I got some bigger fights, man. You heard me. You and I have been talking. I've been calling out Rory. I've been calling out Paul Daly. The little Patricio Pitbull sister has been wanting to fight me ever since I literally mangled his brother on national television and almost beat him within an inch of his life. So I got a lot of fights I have a lot more fights than I can take than this rematch. To me, the belt doesn't mean anything to me. I don't need the belt to prove who I am. The belt to me is just an ornament at this point. I just want to fight.
Have you always felt that way?
Yeah, really. I mean, what's the belt? What is the belt besides 13 pounds of leather and gold? I mean, yes, it symbolizes something. Yes, it symbolizes that you're the champion, but I don't need to have the belt around my waist. If I walk into a room, he walks into a room, who do you think's getting the attention? If I walk into a room, he walks into the room with the belt over the shoulder, who do you think? People would just be wondering, dang, there's a fan with that. He's one of those fans that got one of those Bellator belts. Where'd you get that Bellator belt? Are you going to have Chandler sign it? That's cool, man. We've all been in those places where we had those things. So
yeah,
I don't need to fight. I don't want to fight. Would I like to punch him in the face? Absolutely. I don't know if I'm going to get the chance, because in this sport, it's a sport in which people have to sign on the dotted lines. We have to sign these contracts, and we have to step into the cage. I don't think he's going to. And that I could care less. I'm on to bigger and better things. Yamauchi is the toughest fight in this division and the scariest fight in this division, with 22 wins, 18 wins by submission, 18 finishes this guy has. He's young, he's hungry, he's confident, and he fights a lot. He just finished Adam Piccolotti a month or two ago, who's one of the top prospects in this division, and this guy has 15, 16, this guy has more fights than I do. So I want a big fight, I want a hard fight, I want a challenging fight, and I want to fight on January 20th, the kickoff of Bellator MMA on Paramount Network. There's nobody else in this entire company that should be on that first fight, just like I was in the first fight on Spike TV when we went from MTV to Spike TV. So that's why I'm on this card. Bellator did right by me. My new son's birthday is January 23rd. I said, hey, I want to fight the 20th because I'd like to be able to celebrate his first birthday. Here we are. I go out, finish Yamauchi, and then I got some big fights on my horizon. Probably not him.
When you were reading those comments, him saying that you turned down the fight and all that stuff, what was your reaction? Knowing, the story that you just told, how did you react to that?
Of course I was ticked off. Of course, my wife and I were road tripping here to Missouri, and she was reading it to me as I was driving.
Oh no!
And she gets more worked up. She gets more worked up than I do. So it's one of those things where, man, we live in a world today where, we just heard Chael say, perception is reality. So he, this guy's smart enough to say, hey, if I go ahead and lie to everybody and say that he turned down the fight, I can get a little bit more time to sit around and watch my wife feed our baby. I don't know what he's doing right now. I have a 9-month-old, and my wife does 90% of the stuff, and I'm there to I'm there for comic relief. You don't need to be sitting around and being a father full time. Get your butt in the gym. Let's get into a fight. But I was a little bit ticked off, and that's why I'm on the show right now. Yeah. And then again, whatever. These are my words. But all I'm saying is look at someone's track record. Let's see who is always asking for fights. See who is always calling people out. See who is always ready and always down to get into a war and literally die inside of a cage. One of us is, one of us isn't. So it's not that hard of a decision to see who's lying in this scenario.
And what about this 170 stuff? I mean, I know that there was some talk you wanting to fight Rory McDonald and all that stuff. Was it possible that your next fight would have been at 170? Was that something that was discussed?
Absolutely, man. I mean, there's, like I said, man, I'm in this sport now. I've been in this sport almost 10 years now. I want the biggest and most exciting fights I possibly can. Those guys at 170 aren't that much bigger than me. I'm a big lightweight. I haven't had the easiest time making weight. The only reason I can make weight easily is because I'm disciplined for 10 weeks. I've already started my diet to get down to 155
Wow.
on January 20th. It's not easy. It's not easy for me to make weight because I stay in shape. I keep a lean body mass, lean muscle mass throughout the entire year, and I get up into that 187, 190 mark, and then I bring it down. So yeah, I want those big explosive fights. Paul Daly is one of the most exciting fighters in the entire world. I want to step into the cage with that man. Roy McDonald is widely regarded as one of the top welterweights in the world. I want to fight that man. Patricio Pitbull is smaller than me, but he's got a big mouth and he hates me. He hates me more than anybody hates anybody in this entire MMA game. So we might as well step into the cage and settle it. So there's no reason to talk about has-beens and part-time fighters who we were alluding to earlier. Let's start talking about the big names, the people who actually fight for a living, who fight for a paycheck, who love to step into the cage, bite down on the mouthpiece, and put on a show for the fans. That's what I do. That's what I've done since 2009, since I finished my college wrestling career. So it's time to go, man. January 20th it is. I'm a prize fighter. I'm ready to collect the prize.
There's no part of you whatsoever that you're like, yeah, I know, I agree with what you're saying, and it all makes sense. Prize fighting, I mean, that's how you provide for your family. But you want that belt, right? It'd be nice to have it back. Don't you make more money when you're the champion as well?
No.
Oh no, it's the same.
I make money being Michael Chandler. Whether I'm fighting, whether I don't make money when I don't fight. That's when I don't make money.
Yes.
I make the same amount of money whether I'm the champion or whether I'm not the champion. Let's just say I've earned my position in this company. I have bled. I have died inside that cage. Came back in the 5th round against Vincent Henderson and finished the fight at the bell and won the fight via decision. Okay, I've had the belt numerous times. I went up to Sanford Medical in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, got 12 shots in my spine on a Wednesday before the first Bellator pay-per-view ever, and hobbled into the cage, all jacked up, body all numb, went out there and lost a fight that I should have never taken. That's what I do. I don't care about the belt. I have 3 of them hanging in my office. If I was at home right now, we'd be doing it in my office and you could see all the belts. Who cares about the belts? Those things are going to collect dust. Those things are going to tarnish. I don't care about that stuff. I care about legacy. I care about creating currency for myself and my family, and now my son, my wife, and my son. That's what I want. The belt to me is an ornament. I could care less. I got some big fights that people want to watch, and that's what's going to happen.
Is it fair to say that you've moved on from Brent Primus at this point? That you're not interested in fighting him anymore?
Why would I? I almost knocked him out on one leg. Everybody saw it. And millions of people saw it and thought, holy cow, how is that guy with one leg just literally knock someone to their butt, chase him across the cage, ankle bent 7 ways a Sunday, and then the referee came in and gave the fight to someone else. I'm 100% convinced I would have won that fight on one leg. So why do I need to fight? I literally do not need to fight him, especially if he doesn't want to fight. And now you want to tell people that I turned down the fight? Now you don't even deserve to step in the cage with me. I'm the draw here. I'm the big name. I'm still the champion, whether you like it or not, you dork.
How is the foot, by the way?
It's phenomenal, dude. Look at this sucker.
You're all good.
It's great, man. It's
no limitations.
Yeah, I ran 5. Huh?
No limitations. You're healed.
0 limitations. No, I walked to your studio.
Yes.
Right the day after.
Yeah.
I walked to your studio. I walked 5-10 miles around New York for a day and a half and enjoyed the scenery and all that kind of stuff. Went to San Diego, started my rehab. 5 days later, I ran 5 miles on concrete in my running shoes.
Okay.
I'm 100% healed. I have 0 limitations.
Incredible.
I'm the best I've ever been. So time to step in the cage.
That is amazing. By the way, I'd be remiss if I don't ask you about your old friend, Will Brooks. Are you shocked by this, that he's 1-3, that he's lost his last 3 in a row? Are you a little surprised to see how poorly things have gone for him in the UFC?
I am. I really am. And the funny thing is, no matter how big of a rivalry you could have with somebody, and no matter how much you might dislike the way someone is, or we've had our differences, or we have our history, I still feel for the guy, man. Nobody deserves to lose 3 fights in a row when you can't get your footing. Your confidence is down in the dumps. Things are going wrong here. Things are going wrong there. You just can't catch a break. It's tough, man. I saw it happen, and I saw some of the comments, man. Like, people are just ruthless.
Oh, man.
This man steps into the cage. This man just steps into a cage, puts himself on the line, and loses in front of millions of people. And all people can say is negative, mean things, you know, and that's just the world we live in. So I'm here to say that I'm one of his not so big supporters, but keep your head up, man. You know, your best days can still happen if you continue to believe in yourself and continue to work hard. That's where I was, man. People wrote me off. You know, we just started talking about the Eddie Alvarez fight 6 years ago. People put Chandler up in the top 3 in the world. Yeah, we want to see him fight Vincent Henderson, UFC champion. We want to see him in the UFC. We want to see him at number 1. I think this guy can go all the way. And then fast forward 2 years later, losing 3 fights in a row. This guy sucks. He's washed up, has been. You know, go get a day job. And now here I am again on the biggest show in MMA media. You know, so I've continued to win and lose and win and lose. And in this game, nobody can be perfect. And you're continuing to just fight your previous self and your own limitations inside your mind. And that's what it is. And the life of a fighter is a hard one, and it's not an easy one, and it's trying, and it'll beat you to your knees if they'll let it. And you know, it's a tough life, but man, you just got to keep your head up and keep moving forward.
Great stuff, Michael. Pleasure as always. Selfishly, I wanted to see you fight for that belt again. I wanted to see a conclusion to that, but happy to see that. Okay, all right. I'm just saying.
You seriously want to see me step into the cage with that part-time fighter rather than Paul Daly, Patricio Pip?
No.
Rory McDonald, Lorenz Larkin.
You're one of
Mark
the faces.
Hunt?
You're Mark. What do you know that I don't know? You're one of the faces of that promotion. You should be fighting for a belt. You know, that fight kind of ended a bit inconclusively, and it was incredible to watch cage side with the one leg, and you're knocking him down. But I love this Yamauchi fight. I think he's great. I love the styles matchup. I love, you know, the just like on paper, the way you two match up. It's fun. But yeah, selfishly, I thought that would have been great for the new network and everything, you fighting for the belt. But hey, you got bigger plans. You're not worried. I'm not going to be worried.
Yeah, don't be worried, man. It's all good. We got it going. And like I said, Yamauchi is the toughest fight in this division. He finishes Patricky Pitbull. He finishes Brent Primus. He finishes any of those guys. And Michael Chandler's going to go out there and smash him. So January 20th, let's go.
All the best. Again, congratulations on parenthood, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Thank you. You too, man. I appreciate it. I'll see you.
All right, there he is, Michael Chandler, returning to action on January 20th.